I think there are some legacy automakers that are highly likely to survive, especially if they sell in the luxury segment. For example, BMW sold a record number of 2.5 million vehicles in 2023. And in Q4, BMW's BEV sales were 18% of all of its sales. And I think a Tesla buyer and a BMW buyer, these are very different buyers, generally speaking. If you buy a BMW, a big reason why you are buying it, I think, has to do with you wanting higher status. It's a status symbol. And one thing that I studied quite a bit, and where a large portion of my expertise personally is marketing, and people do so many things to increase status, particularly not decreasing your status. Maybe not so much increasing your status, but not decreasing status is very important to many people. I was talking to one mother and she said, no, Matt, that does not apply to me. I just drive a minivan to drop off my kids at school. And I said, well, if you drove some fancy car, that would actually decrease your status with other moms. If you pulled up in a Bentley, let's say, and she had the money to do that, that wouldn't really look good on you, would it? And that's when she reluctantly agreed. Anyway, I think BMW overall also made the right call with launching a direct sales model across Europe. So I think BMW has a chance to survive. I would not invest in BMW. I want to make that very clear. But BMW is not really competing so much on price. Tesla, though, is. Tesla is going after the mass market, and that is a very different market. That auto show that Tesla is participating in Washington, D.C., you can actually go and sit in the Cybertruck, and you can also go for a test drive with a Model Y, Model S, or X. The refreshed Model 3 is available as well, but I don't think there are test drives available for the refreshed Model 3. Someone is charging their Model Y in extreme cold. We have heard some people complain about superchargers supposedly not really working, Tesla sucking when it comes to charging. Well, you can charge a Tesla vehicle when it's minus 31 Fahrenheit. When you charge in cold weather, make sure that your battery is always preconditioned. And I always check if I will have a charger available for me. So even if I know how to drive to the supercharger, I still go through the Tesla's navigation system. Cybertrucks were spotted in China. Looks like they were airdropped. This is going to be a bit like an advertising campaign in China. Maybe it will help increase China's sales a little bit. Joe Tagmeyer actually found exactly when the Cybertrucks were packaged. This picture is from January 18th.
And look, the haters are going to continue to hate. But ultimately, it's really the next phase of the Tesla growth story. I mean, the price war, that Game of Thrones in China, I believe 95% of that's done. Margins start to stabilize. And if you look, this was a record China quarter. So the irony is that coming into this year, the bears thought this was the year the Tesla story was going to ultimately break. Instead, actually got stronger. And I believe 2024 is going to be a very strong year for Tesla as more and more they're doubling down on EVs. I think 2024 margins plateau and then ultimately start to uptick. That's the key of the story. Key to what I view as a re-rating on the stock and ultimately EPS moving higher. By Thanksgiving, we believe they announced a sub $30,000 vehicle that's produced out of Mexico as well as in Austin. And that's important to get to the masses. But also, they will be profitable on a car like that over the next 12, 18 months once that ramps, because they have something that gives them the power. The margins, the software, the story they have gives them the opportunity to really crush the competition. I think that both sides, they're doing it. Cybertruck and then a sub $30,000 vehicle. That's sort of the 1-2 punch where Musk continues to play chess while others play checkers. Remember, a lot of the smartest people I know are Tesla bears. But in Tesla, the bulls are really the ones that make money. And I think if you look at how it's all played out, they view it as an auto company. We view it as a disruptive technology company.
Yeah, even the Tesla bears that made money shorting Tesla stock once, in the end, usually they actually end up losing money because they think, oh, it's going to go down even further, and then they get crushed.
What do you think is the biggest risk to the company right now?
Look, I would say, as much as people say Musk is look, I'd say Musk is the biggest asset. And despite all the negative headlines that we've seen, investors understand with Musk, this is not an individual that's going to be reading books on a Saturday night. So the biggest risk continues to be China, because China is the hearts and lungs of the Tesla growth story, just like Apple. So any sort of ratcheting up a geopolitical US-China cold tech war, that's probably what I view as the biggest risk, especially with that price war that's definitely started to stabilize. At the end of this year, it's $1 trillion market cap. And that's why I think if you go back to a year ago, the haters were thinking Tesla goes under $100. Instead, it's a stock that basically doubled. And as it all plays out, betting against Musk and Tesla, it's been like betting against Tom Brady in Super Bowls.
Yeah, in general, I think that China remains a risk for Tesla. But in the worst case scenario, if Tesla somehow gets kicked out of China, then that means probably no Chinese automakers will be able to compete outside of China, which I think in the end, it would be basically, no change in Tesla's long-term potential, because I believe all of the biggest competition for Tesla is going to come from China. But Tesla will not be competing against Chinese automakers within the US probably, unless they set up big factories here locally, but that does not seem very likely that BYD would want to do that, although they are looking at a factory in Mexico. So it could happen. But in Europe, the Chinese will be competing against Tesla fully. And like and subscribe if you haven't yet. My name is Matt Posius, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.